What's going on, guys? It's Aaron the Paint Corrector, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite products, Optimum No Rinse. And today we've got a special test. I haven't really seen a ton of people do a review on whether or not this rinseless wash will scratch freshly polished black paint. I have this panel here polished to about 85–90%. And what we're going to do is we're going to wash off all of this dirt and grime from driving down the winter roads, and we're going to see whether or not proper washing techniques with rinseless washing can scratch this paint. And we're also going to try and purposely scratch the paint and see how good ONR is at stopping those swirls and marring marks from washing. So let's jump into it. Alright, so for today's test, if you haven't already seen some of my other videos before, I show two different ways of rinseless washing your vehicle, and we're going to use those ways today. One being the power rinseless method, and then one being just using a trigger spray bottle. Now, in this one here, I have Optimum Power Clean, and that's normally safe to use on the panels, but just for the purpose of today's test, I'm not going to use any degreaser. Okay, so first things first, let's focus on getting rid of the majority of the grime. So we'll spray the panel down first. The first method will use the trigger sprayer. So let's get into it. Alright, and we'll let that dwell for a little bit. Okay, so we've got our fresh microfiber that's been sitting in ONR. We're going to fold it into 4, and then we're just going to wipe in sections. Check the microfiber. Looks good, so we're going to go again. Still looks good, but I'll just flip it over. Alright, so see that? It does get dirty. This time, we're going to power rinseless wash, and we're going to see what our results look like. Okay, so this is the area that I power rinseless wash, and now let's look at the paint. So that little mark is there from before, so don't worry about that one. So there's 1, 2. No major zingers like last time though. This worked really nicely. Okay, now this is the side that has been traditionally rinseless washed. Don't worry about this. This is just unfixable stuff from before. We're more worried about things like that. That wasn't there before, so that's a good one. There's another little tick. So overall, pretty good job. It's definitely not mar or scratch free. Again, don't worry about big marks like that. But with a coating or a wax on this, I mean, there's a pretty good chance that this wouldn't be harmed in any way. So, what is the final verdict on Optimum No Rinse, or ONR? Well, it did a pretty fantastic job at washing the panel down without inducing too much scratching or marring. And relatively speaking, this panel was polished and it was wiped with an IPA, so there was no protection on this whatsoever. And there's very, very few marks that have been induced into the paint, which realistically could have even been from just my microfibers that I'm using. So Optimum No Rinse is just a fantastic product. It's very, very good at not scratching or marring the paint surface. And if you're somebody that's worried about little dust particles or anything like that swirling your paint while doing a rinseless wash, I mean, these results speak for themselves. So thanks for watching, and next I'll have a video on all the uses for ONR.